Milton City Councilman Kunz from District 2 doing another Milton City Council meeting recap, and this one's going to be a few days after the fact because I actually had to get legal advice on this one. Again, these thoughts are my own. I don't speak on behalf of everybody on the council. In fact, this one is sort of a dissenting opinion based on a decision we made on Monday night with regards to Bajun Properties, which owned a portion of the part of the property behind us back here. So I try to get these videos under 5 minutes. This one might be a little tough, but I want you to understand why I'm doing this. It takes, in my experience, about 2 years for a council decision to be felt in the community, whatever we decide to do, good or bad. And if we make a good decision in about 2 years, people start to feel it. If we make a bad decision, it starts to be felt in about 2 years. So in this particular one, the reason why I needed to get legal advice is because I think there's a good chance that we're going to get sued. And I'll tell you exactly why, the history behind this property here. So the issue is prior to 2008, Bajun Properties did not own this property. What they did, though, is that in April of 2008, the city council actually passed a requirement that any new development had to have a 75-foot buffer. So what's a buffer? A buffer is that area between properties where you cannot build. It's got to either be landscaping or trees or undisturbed from that perspective. And so the city in 2008 of April decided not to allow building within 75 feet of an adjacent property. So Bajun Properties, though, thought about buying this back here, and they asked for a variance in 2008. In August of 2008, they were granted that variance. What did they get? That's the question. So they got, these cars going by. It's always fun when cars go by. They got 98 senior condos in the property back over here to the if you look at it, to the left of the yellow sign. And then they got a 40-foot buffer, not 75, but 40 foot on the back end and 20 or 25 on the sides, essentially. So that buffer is important to keep that in mind. So they got the variance approved, city granted the variance, then Bajun Properties bought the property. So that's what happened. City granted the variance, they bought the property. Then 2008 happens. Market crashes. They don't build because obviously there's a lot of issues with revenue and financing and things like that. So, and then another thing happened. FEMA got involved from the U.S. government and looked at the floodplain that was back behind here, and that floodplain, they said, we need to extend that. So they extended the floodplain further back, which meant that Bajun Properties couldn't build on an additional acre of their property. So, what does that mean? That means that now they have this property that they bought at the variance approval by the city, and then they had some issues with it. So they came to the city and asked, what do we do? And so the city staff said, well, here's some ideas. Now, since that time, we've hired a city architect. We've had a lot of more experience with developments as well, and we actually helped direct them with some ideas of what they can do. Part of that idea was that they can go into the AG1 property next to them that they do not yet own. But they can ask for a variance there. So what is AG1 over there? AG1 typically means you're allowed 1 unit per acre of land. Now, it's currently zoned that they can build 1 house per acre there if they want, but of course they had the 98 approved behind us. However, our 2030 comprehensive plan that was passed in 2011 and then updated again in 2016 stated that that property over there should be high density residential. What does that mean? That means that we as a city think that if a development were to happen, they can ask for something between 5 and 9 units per acre over there. So they, as a developer, came in and did everything we asked them to do. They worked with the staff on architecture, they worked with the staff on design elements, units, and they actually lowered the number of units from 98 down to 54. They came through the process asking for a variance. It went before our design review board, and they loved it. They went before our planning commission, and that passed the planning commission 5-2, with my appointee on the planning commission, Mark Bittner, saying this is right for Milton, it's the right idea. It comes before the city council, and based on the 75-foot buffer requirement, the city council they made a motion to deny the variance because they didn't want to get rid of the 75-foot buffers. What they did ask as far as buffers go in the new project was 30-foot buffers with all kinds of plants planted in there to help protect the residents near there, but that was comparable to the 40-foot and 20-foot that they had originally granted in 2008. So, what happened now? I think potentially because you have a developer that did everything we asked him to do but was still denied, that this is going to go to the courts. And what happens then? That means that a court system is going to decide who is right. Now, in our favor, the applicant never applied for an extension of the 2008 variance. So technically, in the city's perspective, I think we can get away with that. However, there's a risk there because they did do everything else that we asked, including following our own documents that we said we had. So as a city councilman, having to vote on these issues is our job to help protect the residents that are there. And I don't feel good about this one because anything can happen. Now, why am I doing this video today? Because again, it takes 2 years for circumstances like this to have their effect. I don't like playing Monday morning quarterback, and I don't want to come out 2 years from now and say shoulda, shoulda, shoulda. What I want to do is say, look, here it is, here's the situation, and we have a record of it now that we need to watch to help not only future councils in the city of Milton, but councils all across this country as they look at zoning to make sure they recognize that the economics don't usually care about our decisions. They can have ramifications if we don't make the right ones, or they can be really, really good if we do make the right ones. So we'll find out soon enough what happens here. But in any case, if we do go through that, I wanted to make sure that I explain this now. I haven't heard that they're doing anything yet, but I think it's very likely. We'll find out soon enough. So again, this is Matt Kunz with the City of Milton District 2. This is a longer one. I hope I was clear on this. If you have any questions, reach out to me at MattKunz59 on Twitter or Facebook, facebook.com/MattKunzGOV. And again, I had the dissenting opinion on this. I respect the decision by the council, but time will tell to see if we were right. And anyway, appreciate your support. Thank you.